Hey boos, and welcome back to Cooking with Kiana, where I show you how to make restaurant quality meals in the comfort of your own home. So today we're going to be making grilled lobster, and guys, I'm telling you, once you try this recipe, you'll never go back to making lobster the same way you made them before. So stay tuned and I'll show you guys how to make this delicious recipe. For ingredients, we'll be using 6 live lobsters, cooking wine, I don't have that so I'm using what I have, 4 sticks of butter, lemon, poultry blend, which consists of rosemary, sage, and fresh thyme, 3 scotch bonnet peppers, 1 bunch of scallion, 5 garlic cloves, Maggi fish seasoning, Char broil spices and herbs, fresh ginger or ginger paste, and roasted garlic and rosemary sea salt spice blend. And of course, we can't forget parsley. Okay, so first I'm going to start off by chopping up the scallion. And I'm going to chop that up finely. Also, guys, be sure to check the description box for the full recipe and step-by-step directions. Also, if you guys like these kind of videos, be sure to subscribe to my channel. That way you don't miss a new recipe every week. And when I'm done with that, I'm just going to set that aside. That way I can get started on the scotch bonnet peppers. And for the peppers, I'm just going to cut off the stem and I'm going to remove those seeds, and then we are going to chop that up finely. If you like a little more spice, you can keep some of the seeds in. Keep in mind, the more seeds that you leave in, the spicier this dish will be. Also, be sure to use gloves when you are cutting these up. That way you do not burn your eyes. This pepper is very spicy. Once I'm done with that, I'm just going to set that aside, and I'm going to take my 5 garlic cloves and we are just going to crush that with the back of our knife. And I like to do this because it makes the garlic flavor stronger as well as making it more easier for me. Alright, so now I'm going to set that aside and we are going to grate our ginger. And of course I have removed the skin before grating this. If you can't get a hold of any ginger, you can always use ginger paste, because essentially that is what we're making right now. So if you are using ginger paste, I'd say you'd probably use about a teaspoon of that. So now I'm going to boil my lobster for about a minute. You can totally skip this step. This is optional. I'm just doing this because I am not going to cut into no live lobster. I just don't have it in me to do that. So as soon as the minute is over, you want to hurry up and remove it from that water, because we do not want to overcook these lobsters because we will be cooking them later. So when you start this, you want to start in the center of the head and cut your way down in between the eyeballs. And then we are going to flip this around and we're just going to pick up where we left off, and we're going to cut this all the way down the center, cutting the tail as well, and also making sure we cut that fin in half as well too. Once we're done with that, we are going to open this up. You want to make sure you discard all that green stuff in the inside. How you do that is just by rinsing it a few times. And once you're done, your lobster should look something like this. So I'm just going to show you guys how to do this one more time. It's actually pretty simple, but like I was saying, you can skip the boiling step and just get to cutting if you feel brave enough to do that. If not, you definitely want to boil it first for about a minute or two. You want to make sure you crack those claws as well. That way they could be nice and flavorful. It's also less work when it's time to eat them if you do it this way. So now that we are done preparing these crabs, I'm going to set my fire to low heat so we could get started on this butter sauce. So I'm going to add about 4 sticks of butter and I'm just going to let that melt. Once that butter has melted, I'm going to add in the crushed garlic, the scallion, and the ginger paste. And of course, we can't forget the scotch bonnet pepper. Even if you don't like spices, definitely do not forget to add this in. It gives the dish a nice distinctive flavor. Now I'm going to add 5 sprigs of thyme, 2 sprigs of rosemary, and 1 sage leaf. And then we are going to add in our spices. I am adding a half a teaspoon of Char broil spices and herbs, a half a teaspoon of roasted garlic and rosemary spice blend, 2 teaspoons of parsley, and then I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of cooking wine, and then we are going to give that a good stir. Once I'm done with that, I'm just going to set that aside. And I'm going to season this lobster with Maggi fish seasoning. As you can see, I'm not adding a lot because that butter sauce is already seasoned. And the last thing we want is a salty lobster. Now I'm just going to take that butter sauce and I'm going to add a generous amount to each lobster, making sure I'm getting the claws as well, because that butter will go directly into those claws and season those up as well. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to put my grill on low heat. I'm going to let that heat up and we're going to add our lobsters. And we're going to let this cook for about 7 minutes. I am cooking this in a pan. However, you can put this directly on the grill. The only thing is, if you're going to do it that way, make sure you brush the butter sauce onto it instead of using a spoon. And while the lobster is on the grill cooking, I'm going to baste it about 2 times with that butter sauce. I also charred the lemon off camera. That way when it's time to eat my lobster, I can just take that lemon and squeeze it directly onto that lobster, and it's going to give it a wonderful flavor. Okay, so now that our lobster is pretty much done, I'm going to take this off the grill and I'm going to plate this. And I'm gonna be honest, this is the best lobster that I've had in a long time. You guys should definitely try this recipe. It's super easy and delicious. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and share it with all your friends and family. Also, let me know what you think about this recipe in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.